I watched my fiancée pack her bags for a girls' weekend. The same day, I found out she'd been planning to test drive other men before marrying me. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. The catering contract was spread across our dining table in Portland that Thursday afternoon, highlighted sections marking our final walkthrough scheduled for 23 days from now. Michelle had printed it out that morning, sticky notes flagged on every page where we needed to initial. I'm an accountant at a mid-sized firm downtown. She's an interior designer with her own small business. We'd been together 5 years, engaged for 11 months. Wedding planned for late April at a waterfront venue overlooking the Willamette River. I got home early that day because a client meeting had been canceled. Michelle's car was in the driveway, but she didn't answer when I called out. I found her in our bedroom, sitting on the edge of our bed with her phone in her hands, staring at the screen with an expression caught somewhere between determination and guilt. "Hey," I said from the doorway. "Didn't hear me come in?" She looked up, startled, then something settled in her face. "A decision made. Actually, I'm glad you're home early. We need to have a conversation I've been putting off." My stomach dropped in that instinctive way it does when you know bad news is coming. I sat down in the chair across from the bed. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she started, setting her phone face down on the nightstand. "About us. About marriage. About forever. And I realized something that's been bothering me for months now." I waited. "I've only been in 2 serious relationships before you. One in high school that barely counts, and one in college that ended badly. You've been with more people. You had your 20s to explore and figure out what you wanted. I went from a bad breakup at 23 straight into meeting you at 24. I never had that time." "Okay," I said carefully. "Are you saying you wish you'd had more experiences before we met?" "I'm saying I need them now." She leaned forward, hands clasped between her knees. "Before we get married, I need to know what else is out there so I can be absolutely certain you're who I'm supposed to choose. Not just who I ended up with by default because I was young and inexperienced." The words hung in the air between us. I could hear the neighbor's dog barking 3 houses down. Could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. "You want to see other people," I said. It wasn't a question. "I want to explore physical connections with other men, yes. Just for a few weeks. Just to get it out of my system and come back knowing with complete certainty that you're the one I want for the rest of my life. This isn't about love. I love you. This is about making sure I'm not making a decision based on limited information." I looked at her, at the woman who'd helped me through my sister's cancer diagnosis, who knew I liked my coffee with too much cream and my eggs slightly runny, who'd spent 6 hours helping my mother pick out mother-of-the-groom dresses and never complained once. "Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly," I said slowly. "You want to sleep with other men in the weeks before our wedding, and then marry me, so that you can be confident you're not missing out on something better?" She flinched slightly at the phrasing, but nodded. "I know it sounds bad when you put it like that, but think about it logically. Don't you want to marry someone who's absolutely sure? Who's had enough experiences to know what they want? I'm asking for a few weeks to answer questions I should have answered years ago. If you really love me and want this marriage to last, you'll understand that this is actually the most honest thing I could do for us. And if I say I'm not comfortable with that," her jaw tightened, "then I don't think I can go through with the wedding. I can't commit to forever with this doubt hanging over me. It wouldn't be fair to either of us." I sat there looking at the catering contract visible through the doorway on the dining table, at the dress hanging in dry cleaning plastic in our closet, at the woman I'd thought I'd spend my life with, now asking permission to audition my replacements. "Okay," I said. Her entire posture changed. Shoulders dropped. Face softened. She actually smiled with relief. "Oh, thank God. I was so worried you'd freak out. We can set boundaries, obviously. I'm not talking about dating or relationships, just physical experiences. And I'll be completely transparent about everything. I already have the hotel booked for this weekend. Actually, I was planning to tell you it was a girls' trip with Sarah, but I can be honest now. There's a guy from a design conference last year who's in town, and I need to take a walk," I said, standing up. "Oh, okay. We can talk more about the details when you get back. Set some ground rules." I grabbed my keys and left. I didn't come back for 3 hours. I drove to the waterfront and sat in my car watching the river. Not angry, not crying, just calculating. Michelle had put the deposits on the venue and photographer on her business credit card for points. but I'd reimbursed her in full. The catering was on my card. The flowers were split. The band was paid through my checking account. The rings had both belonged to my grandmother. A wedding set I'd had cleaned and resized. My name was on the apartment lease. Hers wasn't, because when we'd moved in 2 years ago, her credit score was recovering from some business debt and the landlord had balked. I told her not to worry about it. We were partners. What did it matter whose name was on paper? I sat there until the sun started setting, then drove to a coffee shop and opened my laptop. The venue contract had a cancellation clause. 14 days or more before the event, 50% refund. Less than 14 days, no refund. We were 23 days out. I opened my email and drafted a cancellation notice, professional and brief. Clicked send before I could reconsider. The catering company had a similar policy, but with a 2-week buffer. I called them directly. The owner answered, remembered our tasting, asked if everything was all right. I said there'd been a change in circumstances and we needed to cancel. She was understanding. Confirmed cancellation by email within 10 minutes. 70% refund, minus the deposit on specialty items already ordered. The photographer was harder. She'd already done our engagement photos and blocked out the entire weekend. But she had a cancellation list. I explained the situation in the vaguest terms possible. She said she was sorry things hadn't worked out, and that she could offer a 40% refund since she could likely book someone else with this much notice. I accepted. Got the confirmation in writing. The florist had a strict no-refund policy on deposits, but I called anyway. Explained I was canceling the wedding. She heard something in my voice and offered to credit the deposit toward funeral arrangements if I ever needed them in the future. Dark humor, but I appreciated it. Email confirmation saved. The band kept the deposit but waived the remaining balance. Another email for the folder. I called my landlord from the coffee shop parking lot at 8 p.m. He was eating dinner, apologized for the noise. I told him I needed to break the lease. Michelle wasn't on it. Only I was, but I'd be moving out and couldn't keep paying rent on my own. He'd always liked me, said I'd been a model tenant. He agreed to let me out at the end of the month if I forfeited the security deposit and paid through May 1st. I agreed. Got it in writing via text message. I called my buddy Derek, who worked in property management. Asked if he knew of any studio or one-bedroom apartments available immediately. He had a place in Southeast Portland, nothing fancy, available the first of the month. I said I'd take it sight unseen. He said he'd have the paperwork ready. I went back to the apartment at 9:30. Michelle was on the couch watching TV, already in her pajamas. Where were you? I was getting worried. Thinking, I said. And, are you okay with everything we talked about? I need to sleep on it. Big day tomorrow. She smiled. Okay. I'm glad you're processing it maturely. I really think this is going to make us stronger. I slept in the guest room. Told her I was coming down with something and didn't want to get her sick before her weekend trip. She accepted it without question. Friday morning I left for work before she woke up. Stopped by the jeweler on my way. The same woman who'd helped me pick out the resizing and setting for my grandmother's rings recognized me immediately. Here for the final polish before the big day? She asked cheerfully. Actually, I need to return them. The engagement is off. Her face fell. Oh honey, I'm so sorry. Me too. Is there any possibility of a buyback? She took the rings to the back, consulted with her manager. Came back with an offer of 65% of what I'd paid for the setting and resizing work. The original rings had been free, family heirlooms, but the work had cost nearly $2,000. I took the check, got a receipt, saved it to my phone. At lunch I drove to the bank and opened a new checking account, individual not joint. Transferred my direct deposit. Left our shared account with exactly half of the current balance. Michelle texted me at 2 p.m. Leaving for my trip. Probably won't have great reception at the hotel, but I'll check in tomorrow. I didn't respond. She texted again at 2:45. Love you. Thank you for being so understanding about everything. I turned off my phone. I spent Friday evening packing. Clothes, books, kitchen items I'd brought into the relationship, the coffee maker I'd bought, my desk, my computer. I rented a small U-Haul van for Saturday morning. Called Derek and asked if I could move in immediately instead of waiting until the 1st. He said the place was empty, come whenever. Saturday morning at 6, and I loaded everything. Left the furniture we'd bought together. Left the dining table with the catering contract still on it. Left my key on the kitchen counter with a note. I've canceled all the wedding vendors and moved out. I've removed my name from the lease and paid through the end of May. You can stay or leave, but you'll need to work it out with the landlord. I've withdrawn my portion from our joint account. The engagement is over. Please don't contact me. I drove to my new studio apartment. It was small. Carpet was old but clean. The view was a parking lot. I unpacked my boxes, set up my bed, made coffee in my coffee maker, and sat on the floor with my laptop. Michelle's first call came at 10 a.m. I turned my phone back on and immediately blocked her number. She called from another number. Blocked. She called from a third number. I stopped answering unknown numbers. The emails started around noon. What the fuck did you do? You canceled our wedding without even talking to me? Where are you? Your stuff is gone. This is insane. Call me immediately. I swear to God, if you don't call me back in the next hour, I'm calling the police for a wellness check. I set up an email filter. Everything from her went to a folder I'd check once a week. Her mother called on Sunday. I'd forgotten to block her. What is going on? Patricia demanded. Michelle is hysterical. She said you moved out and canceled the wedding without any warning. There was warning, I said calmly. Michelle issued an ultimatum on Thursday. She said she needed to sleep with other men before our wedding to be sure about marrying me, and that if I wasn't okay with it, the wedding was off. I chose option 2. Silence on the other end. She what? You should ask her about it. I'm not discussing this further. Please don't call me again. I hung up. Blocked her number 2. I fell into a routine quickly. Up at 5:30, coffee, short run around the neighborhood, even though I'd never been a runner and was terrible at it. Shower, work, home by 6, cook something simple, read or watch TV, bed by 10. I was more tired than I'd ever been, but I slept like the dead. I bought a small succulent from the grocery store and put it on my kitchen windowsill. Named it Harold. Watered it every 2 weeks and felt genuinely pleased when it sprouted a tiny new leaf. Work became a welcome distraction. I took on extra clients. Volunteered to help with the annual audit. Stayed late on projects I'd normally have delegated. My manager noticed and mentioned that a senior position was opening up in June if I was interested. I told him I was. The gym membership I'd been paying for, but ignoring suddenly seemed appealing. I started going 3 times a week. Nothing intense, just enough to be sore the next day in a way that felt productive. Michelle's emails came in waves, all filtered but visible when I checked the folder every Sunday evening. Week 1 was rage. How dare I embarrass her? How dare I make decisions about their wedding without consulting her? She'd already told everyone they were working through premarital jitters, and now I'd made her look like a fool. I'd sabotaged her business because clients were asking questions. I was manipulative and controlling, and she should have recognized the red flags earlier. She'd already been to the hotel, by the way, and the experience had been amazing. So thanks for setting her free to find out what real passion felt like. Week 2 was negotiation. She'd overreacted to cold feet. She didn't actually need to explore anything. She'd just panicked about forever. Could we please meet for coffee and talk like adults? She missed me. She'd already blocked the guy from the hotel and deleted all her dating apps. She'd told her mother the truth, and Patricia agreed Michelle had made a terrible mistake. Couldn't I forgive one moment of weakness? Week 3 was desperation. Long emails about our history together. The trip to Seattle for our first anniversary. The night I'd proposed at the Japanese garden. How I was her best friend, her soulmate, her future. How she'd never find anyone who knew her like I did. How she was sorry, truly, deeply sorry, and she'd spend the rest of her life making it up to me if I'd just give her another chance. She'd already talked to a therapist about her commitment issues. She was getting help. Didn't that count for something? I read them with the same emotional distance I'd read financial reports. Information received, filed, no action required. Her college roommate called me in early May from a number I didn't recognize. This is insane, she said without introduction. Michelle told me what happened. You really can't forgive her for one mistake. Who is this? It's Jenna. You've met me like 5 times. Michelle's best friend. Jenna. Michelle asked to sleep with other men 3 weeks before our wedding and said if I refused, she'd call off the marriage. That's not a mistake. That's a character revelation. I'm not interested in reconciling. Please don't call again. You're being cruel. She's a mess. She's lost like 15 pounds. That's not my responsibility anymore. Goodbye. I blocked the number. The breaking point voicemail came from an unknown number in mid-May. I'd gotten sloppy about screening calls because I thought Michelle had finally moved on. Her voice was raw, slightly slurred. You sanctimonious piece of shit. Walking around like you're so much better than me. So morally superior. You didn't even fight for us. You just ran away like a coward the second things got complicated. And you want to know something? I slept with 3 different guys that first month. 3. And every single one of them was better in bed than you ever were. More passionate. More present. More everything. So congratulations on your principles. I hope they keep you company at night since clearly no one else will. You emotionally stunted asshole. I deleted it at the 1-minute mark and blocked the number. June came. The senior position officially opened and I applied. Had the interview on a Wednesday. Got the offer on Friday. 10% raise. Corner office. 2 weeks vacation to start. I accepted. I started seeing someone casually. Met her at the gym. Her name was Rachel. She was a nurse, and she thought it was weird that I had a succulent named Harold, but in a charmed way. We went on 3 dates. Nothing serious. I wasn't ready for serious. She was fine with that. The encounter happened at Powell's Books on a Saturday afternoon in mid-June. I was in the science section looking for something to read on my upcoming vacation to the coast. I saw Michelle before she saw me. She was in the home and garden section, alone, looking at a book on sustainable design. She looked different. Thinner, like Jenna had said. Hair shorter. Tired around the eyes. She glanced up, saw me, and froze. I nodded politely and turned back to the shelves. Wait, she said, walking over. Please, can we talk? Just for 2 minutes. I checked my watch. 2 minutes. I'm sorry, she said quickly. For everything. The ultimatum, the emails, the voicemail. I was scared of commitment, and I destroyed the best thing in my life. I've been in therapy. I understand now that what I asked was unreasonable and hurtful. If there's any possibility, we could start over. There isn't, I said quietly. We were together 5 years. And 3 weeks before our wedding you told me you needed to audition other options to make sure I was good enough. That's not cold feet. That's not fear of commitment. That's telling your partner they're not enough, and they need to wait while you confirm there's nothing better available. I was wrong. Yes, you were. But more than that, you showed me that when you're scared or uncertain, your instinct is to hedge your bets and keep your options open. I need a partner whose instinct is to move toward me, not away. Someone who doesn't need to comparison shop to know what they want. That's not you. I hope you find someone who's okay being your backup plan. I'm not. Her eyes filled with tears. You were never a backup plan. Then you have a strange way of showing someone they're your first choice. I have to go. Take care of yourself. I walked to the register with my book, paid, and left through the front entrance. She didn't follow. I drove to my studio apartment, where Harold the succulent was thriving on the windowsill, where my new work laptop sat on my desk, where the coffee maker I'd bought after the move made exactly 1 cup at a time, just enough for me, no one else to consider. I made dinner, called Rachel, and confirmed our date for Sunday. Went to bed early because I was running a 5K in the morning that I'd probably walk half of, but had signed up for anyway. The life I was building was smaller than the one I'd planned. Quieter, but it was entirely mine, built on decisions I'd made with full information, with someone who'd shown me exactly who they were when it mattered most. And I'd chosen to believe them. What would you have done if you were in my position? Let me know in the comments.